Hey, Travis, can I have a word?
But what is it?
And if you go near my daughter again, I will kill you and your entire inbred family.
What is it, Cougar Mama? Are you a screamer?
Damn straight.
A moaner? Are you dead?
Oh my God! Don't move. Please, Hazel. I didn't mean to.
What is that? No coincidence. I dug this hole the first day we met because I knew this day would happen.
Late one night in New York City, a young woman named Hazel stood in front of a hotel mirror, carefully applying her makeup and adjusting her lingerie. Behind her, a man lay dead on the bed, his throat already cut. With the practiced calm of someone who had done this many times before, Hazel wiped every trace of blood from his face, swept the room clean of fingerprints, and slipped out into the night as if she had never been there at all. 20 years passed, the woman who once moved through hotel rooms like a ghost now stands behind the counter of a small, unassuming diner, pouring coffee and taking orders with a polite smile. Nobody who walks through that door has any idea who she really is. To the world, Hazel is just a quiet, hardworking woman running a modest business in Las Vegas. But the instincts never left. When the local police stop by for a meal, Hazel quietly waves away their bill every single time, without fail. Her teenage daughter Joy finally notices the pattern and asks about it. Hazel explains it simply and honestly: you keep the people with badges on your side, because the day you need them to show up fast, you cannot afford for them to hesitate. It is practical, it is careful, it is exactly how Hazel thinks about everything. During that same conversation, Hazel spots Joy's boyfriend sitting at a table across the diner, and the look on her face says everything. She does not trust him, does not like him, and has no interest in pretending otherwise. Joy already knows this, which is why she decides to take a gamble. She asks Hazel for her entire college savings,
Wondering if I could get that college money.
so she can pack up, leave Las Vegas, and start a new life with him. Hazel shuts it down immediately. She did not scrape and sacrifice to hand her daughter's future over to a boy with no plan and no discipline. She tells her daughter firmly to end the relationship. Joy pushes back just as hard, insisting that he is a good person and that her mother simply refuses to see it. The argument escalates until Joy declares that she will move out and figure it out on her own. Meanwhile, Joy's boyfriend is exactly what Hazel feared: a young man driven by impulse, full of big dreams and empty pockets, with no realistic path forward. He begins pressuring Joy for money, telling her to use her college savings so they can finally leave. When she pushes back, he pushes harder. The diner carries on as normal until a man finishes his meal and quietly gets up to leave without paying. Joy, already stretched thin by stress, loses her temper, convinced she has been scammed.
Why did you order $18 of food if you had no money?
Hazel steps in and diffuses the moment. The man is honest about his situation. He is homeless and has nothing, rather than embarrassing him further or sending him away empty. Hazel offers him a job washing dishes and a temporary place to sleep. He looks around the room, takes stock of the situation, and introduces himself as Elliot. Just like that, he becomes part of the daily rhythm of the diner. Then one afternoon, everything changes. Hazel is mid-conversation with a table of regulars when Joy walks through the door wearing sunglasses that sit low and cover most of her face. Something about the way she moves triggers every instinct Hazel has. Joy tries to brush past her, but Hazel reaches up and removes the sunglasses. Beneath them is a deep, dark bruise circling her eye. Joy admits who put it there. She admits it was him, and then she begs her mother not to do anything, warning that his family are dangerous people. She goes home, changes into a bold, striking dress, reaches under her bed, and picks up the gun she keeps there. Across town, Joy's boyfriend is laughing at an auto shop, joking with a friend, completely carefree, and with no idea that the woman whose daughter he hit is already on her way. Hazel walks in and asks to speak with him alone. He refuses, and then makes the mistake of mocking her in front of his friend.
What is it, Cougar Mama? Are you a screamer? A moaner? Are you dead?
She hits him in the face hard enough to make him stumble, then she kicks him and puts him on the ground. When the mechanic tries to intervene, a blast of pepper spray sends him reeling. Blood is running down the boyfriend's face by the time Hazel draws her gun and tells him very calmly to follow her. He refuses. She fires a shot close enough to his ear that refusal is no longer an option. He stumbles after her into the parking lot, muttering about his possibly broken nose, where she confiscates his phone, steers him into a control booth, and binds him with duct tape from head to toe. Then she drives out into the desert. Far from the city, far from any witness, she parks and pulls him out of the car. She leads him to a shallow grave that is already waiting for him. He looks at it and she tells him the truth. She dug it the day she first met him because she already knew.
I dug this hole the first day we met because I knew this day would happen.
She pulls the trigger, then she turns and walks back to the car without looking back. The next morning, Joy cannot reach her boyfriend. She texts him again and hears nothing. When she confronts Hazel, her mother stays completely level and offers a simple explanation. They had a disagreement, and he decided to leave town. Joy does not believe a word of it. She warns Hazel again that his family are not ordinary people, and that if anything happened to him, they will come looking. Hazel remains unmoved. Joy storms out angry. Elliot comes to sit with Hazel for a moment, and that is when she notices something troubling. A man is standing at a distance, pointing a camera lens in their direction, clearly photographing Elliot. Hazel moves quickly, but the man sees her coming and disappears before she can reach him. When she comes back inside, she finds Elliot in the kitchen, tense and distracted, working hard to look like nothing is wrong. That night, she wakes to hear him quietly moving through the house, packing his things, trying to slip away without waking anyone. She confronts him. He claims he knows nothing about the photographer, but his body language tells a different story entirely. She asks him about his past. He agrees to talk, but only if she shares hers first. She refuses. They reach a standstill and go their separate ways for the night. Hazel is not finished. She watches the same photographer return and eventually follows his car to a remote motel on the edge of the city. She breaks into his room and knocks him out cleanly. When he comes around, he finds himself looking down the barrel of a gun. Under that kind of pressure, the story comes out quickly. He is a freelance journalist, and the story he is after is Elliot's. He shows Hazel the evidence on his laptop. Elliot was once a celebrated heart surgeon with a respected career and a promising future. Then came a drunk driving accident that killed his girlfriend. He served 4 years in prison and had only just been released when he walked into the diner that afternoon. Hazel absorbs all of it, takes the laptop, and warns the journalist never to return. Then she walks out. She returns to her routine like nothing has happened, serving tables and keeping the diner running. But Joy is still falling apart over her missing boyfriend, and when Hazel tries to comfort her, she gets nothing but silence and a slammed door. As Hazel follows her outside, she runs into Phil, a man from a part of her life she left behind long ago. He tells her their old boss has just been released from prison. The words land on her like cold water. She already knows why he is back. The meeting is arranged for the next day. Over breakfast the next morning, she lays out everything she found at the motel in front of Elliot and watches his reaction. He admits the truth. He had operated on the journalist's father years ago, and the surgery went wrong. The journalist has carried that grief ever since and has been using the drunk driving accident as a way to destroy Elliot's reputation and settle a score. After hearing him out, Hazel makes her move. She asks Elliot to look after Joy while she handles something that cannot wait. He is uneasy, but he agrees. That evening, she meets Phil and is taken to her former boss. He receives her warmly, reminiscing about the night he first found her at 15 years old, a girl with nowhere to go and nothing to her name, and how he shaped her into what she became. After the warmth of the reunion fades, he makes his proposition clear. There is a target named Perry, the money is generous, and he wants Hazel back. She refuses. She tells him that part of her life is over, and she is not going back. Not for any amount of money. He listens, nods, and then begins speaking in a different tone entirely. He mentions Joy. He mentions what he knows about a certain boyfriend who went missing. The message lands without ever being stated directly. She does not get to simply walk away. Hazel agrees to take the job. That night, she goes to the casino and watches Perry from a distance, studying him, reading the room. Later, back at the diner with a glass between them, she and Elliot talk for a long time. The alcohol softens her edges, and she speaks about things she rarely touches. Her struggles with addiction in another life, the way she was found, shaped, and weaponized. The night ends in a way neither of them fully planned. The following evening, dressed impeccably, she returns to the casino and finds Perry. She makes the encounter feel accidental, and he is drawn in immediately. He invites her up to his private suite, and they spend the evening talking over drinks. When the moment comes, she refills his glass and slips something into it without him seeing. But before he can take a sip, he brings up the past. Their past. He tells her about the relationship they had 20 years ago, the one that ended without explanation, and admits that he never stopped thinking about her. He raises the glass. Hazel acts immediately, taking it from his hand and kissing him before he can question it. A knock at the door gives her just enough time to hide the drink. When he comes back, they agree to meet again. She leaves the suite having done nothing permanent. Back at the diner, life settles into its familiar rhythm. Elliot washes dishes. Hazel takes orders. What Hazel does not know is that Elliot has been a plant from the very beginning. He accepted the assignment to monitor her movements before he ever stepped foot in the diner. Every moment of closeness, every late-night conversation, every look of reassurance, all of it reported back to the man who sent him. One afternoon, a police officer comes in and mentions that teenage girls have been disappearing in the area with increasing frequency. Then Phil arrives and tells her that Perry is preparing to leave town. If she is going to act tonight as the window, she wavers, and Phil presses harder, invoking Joy's safety as the reason she cannot afford to hesitate. Hazel walks away from the conversation without answering. That night before leaving, she slips quietly into Joy's room and watches her daughter for a moment. Then she finds Elliot, tells him she has to go out for work and asks him to stay close to Joy. He tries to stop her, she walks past him and out the door. The moment she is gone, Elliot picks up his phone and reports in. Hazel reaches the hotel, loads her weapon, and steps into the elevator. Upstairs, Perry has just received a package inside. It is a photograph of a young woman. He stares at it, and the truth hits him like a wall. Joy is his daughter, born from the relationship with Hazel 2 decades ago. He is still reeling when his wife walks into the room, and he scrambles to cover it, saying it was all set up for a romantic evening. But Hazel has already changed direction. Instead of going to Perry, she moves on her former boss's hideout. She disables the guard at the entrance with quiet efficiency. Through his surveillance feed, the boss watches her come and sends Phil to intercept. Phil never gets the chance. Hazel reads the hallway, ambushes him, and puts him down before he can raise his voice. She moves to the boss's room where he is already armed and waiting. She shoots him in the arm before he can use his weapon. Wounded and desperate, he tries one last card. He tells her that Elliot has been working for him the whole time. Hazel looks at him without surprise and tells him she is done with this world for good. Then she calls him father because that is exactly who he is, her own father. She pulls the trigger and walks home. She arrives still carrying traces of blood, cleans herself quietly, and checks on Joy without a word exchanged. The next morning, she walks past Elliot in the diner without acknowledging his greeting. He watches her, confused by the sudden wall between them, with no idea how much she already knows. Then Joy walks in, gives her mother a quick, unguarded hug, and heads outside. A moment later, Hazel hears a sound behind her and turns to find Joy's boyfriend. Standing in the kitchen, he raises a finger to his lips. She gives him a slow nod. The morning continues. Joy borrows the car, and Hazel goes back to taking orders. Then she notices the cook is gone. She steps outside to check and walks straight into a scene of violence, a man attacking him in plain sight. She moves in without hesitation. While she handles the first attacker, a second man grabs a teenage girl nearby, but when he clocks Hazel, he drops the girl and comes for her instead. She puts him down, then a third man pulls out a gun and fires. The shots find their mark. Hazel goes down and the world goes very still around her. In the chaos, the men gather the girls and run. Elliot pushes through the crowd and drops to his knees beside Hazel, pressing his hands against the wounds, trying with everything he has to hold the bleeding back as she lies motionless in a spreading pool of red.